Operation Domination is underway. The ultimate game plan to dominate your NFL experience. With your hosts, Dan Maiden.
But what's more impressive to me about the
Chase Thornton.
Yeah, I mean, I got it.
Chris Dowhouse.
Get him, Chase.
And Adam.
No,
LaRue.
not necessarily, but it's again the same.
Don't hope to win. Be great and dominate.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's skip into the tight ends to wrap this show up. There's not much to talk about the tight ends. Just two things. It's going to be Kyle Pitts, and then I'm going to ask you guys a question of all the garbage tight ends that are left over after that, which one you'd rather have. So let's start with Kyle Pitts. We're all in the same range. I mean, look, 6, 7, 5, respectively. So, Chase, here's what I want you to do. I want to explain to the people why you should be back in on Kyle Pitts as a top 8 tight end this year.
There is no way that this season is not his best fantasy opportunity that he's had so far in his career. There's just no way. We've talked about Zach Robinson, and they want to throw the ball more. We've talked about Kirk Cousins is going to be by far the best quarterback that he's ever played with. FAS, Mr. Arthur Smith loves him some tight ends, loves him some traditional inline-ass tight ends. He loved him some Jonnu Smith, does not want Kyle Pitts to be running any routes like Kyle Pitts should be running, what he should be doing on the field. Kyle Pitts only had 5 red zone targets last season. This offense is going to be better. They're going to find themselves in the red zone more, and I do not expect them to skip over one of their best targets in the red zone anywhere on the field like they did last year. He was already 9th in target share last year. I think that continues. I said earlier in this program, I think that he's the number 2 option on this team in the pass game. He might be the tight end, but he's essentially their number 2 wide receiver. This is the best opportunity he has had so far in his career. I expect him to take full advantage of it. And so we like you said, his rookie season, we already saw him have 1,000 yards his rookie season. We know the guy can play some football, and now he's finally got a quarterback that can play some football too. I like that combination. I'm willing to jump on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the terrible quarterbacks that he has, not just playing with Arthur Smith. I think part of why he gets docked so much last year, too, is that unfortunately we didn't really find out exactly how severe the knee injury with the MCL and PCL was until the season already started. And that was just that part of it. I don't think it's something anybody could foresee. None of us knew he was that banged up. And I think that had a lot to do with last season as well. So everything points to Kyle Pitts. You're back to being a top 8 tight end. Finally, he was the only tight end in the top 40 who caught fewer than 59% of his passes. I mean, the guy just didn't have anything catchable thrown to him, and I think that completely improves this season. Be in on Kyle Pitts again, everybody. He is still who we thought he was.
I was going to say real quick, to jump in. We've seen Kyle Pitts, a skill set similar that was comparable or played well with Kirk Cousins and Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed in Washington with Kirk Cousins, they were very efficient, but Kyle Pitts has that very similar skill set. So you do see a guy, with Kirk Cousins who could actually utilize a tight end like him.
Well, and not just Jordan Reed. I know TJ Hockenson
was great last year. I bring up Jordan Reed because more of that pass catching skill set.
More similar to the style that
I was just going to say, yes, Hockenson does not have that type of skill set. Point more being Kirk Cousins features his tight end no matter what their skill set is. So it just kind of all boils it down back to that point. All right, so just to cap off the tight end group, because there's not much else to say. Who's the next best fantasy tight end in the division? Jatavian Sanders, Taysom Hill, Cade Otton, Juwan Johnson, who I think is banged up already. Who'd you guys take out of that group?
Go ahead, Chris.
So this one's a little bit tough for me because I don't hate this division's tight end as much as you seem to, Dan. I think Cade Otton is actually somebody.
Are you drafting any of these guys in a 12-man league?
I have to see how the board kind of falls. Cade Otton is the guy that I would consider as one of those guys with 12 to 16 range, 12 to 18 range. There's a lot of tight ends in there that I could still kind of nitpick to figure out who I would like. So I think Cade Otton could be in that discussion.
ADP is 21. So even if you had him valued there, I don't know if you're really drafting him. Just kind of what my point would be.
I'm trying to just vouch that I think he's got somebody that should actually be on your radar. I'm not saying a guy you have to necessarily have. But Taysom Hill's the other guy to make sure you consider because, as you talked about, Juwan Johnson is already banged up. We already talked about how many passing weapons aren't on this New Orleans offense. But we also seen a lot of talk coming out of camp how Taysom Hill is going to get to be utilized as a weapon and jet sweep actions and the backfield. They're handing him the ball.
Like he's always been used.
He has, but more consistently chasing in the sense that we've
Except
seen
not throwing the ball ever.
we've seen him more offense that consistently uses a motion offense in these Rams offenses, like where the Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, those guys were consistently getting that jet sweep action. That's something that doesn't necessarily have to just be like I rotate you in for a week or two. It's gonna be something that could be consistently part of a week in, week out offense that you can see him be on the field for utilizations of plays. And I bring that up because we know how hard it is to find a ceiling and a floor for some running backs. Taysom Hill has been that sneaky guy that you could always kind of get, Dan, that can sometimes win a week for you. Well, and also be another guy that you like to have on your team just as an option, just in case somebody else maybe gets banged up.
Yeah, Taysom Hill ADP is the highest of this group. He's at 17. He's also the guy I have highest ranked at 19. Chris might surprise you. I do have Kate Otten at 20 right behind him. And then, believe it or not, I have Juwan Johnson at 21 right behind that. So it's just pretty much put him all in that bottom tight end 2 tier. Jatavian Sanders is, dynasty-wise, it's the obvious answer for a dynasty standpoint. And I do like his ability quite a bit, but he's also that type of tight end that I don't see a profile where he gets to play or make a significant impact, I should say, early, because he has a lot he needs to learn as a blocker. And I don't know if he's on the field enough in those situations. Maybe he'd be a poor man version of Juwan Johnson. We get to play the money ball situations in the red zone as the passing target, but this is not an offense I'm very hype on. So yes, of all these guys, Taysom Hill, because he could be a cheat code, because he still could get used as a joker position. Kubiak's talked about. It doesn't seem to be lost on him, despite his new offense of using Taysom Hill in that kind of joker way. I don't think it's necessarily going to disappear. So as long as Taysom Hill is still tight end eligible in your league, which I think he is, then it should be good to go. All right, with that, let's get into my underdogs. All right, here it is. So make sure if you have not signed up already, go to underdog.com and use the promo code FFAdvice to get a $250 cash bonus and 1 free pick'em bet. So again, go to Underdog Fantasy, use the promo code FFAdvice today. And your underdog specials: Drake London, higher than 975 receiving yards. He had 905 last year with the combination of Riddick, Heineke, and Arthur Smith calling plays. Now you change that to a combination of Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix, and Zach Robinson calling plays. Yes, I like the higher for Drake London. Deontay Johnson, higher than 825 receiving yards. Really low here on Deontay Johnson. He had 717 last season in 13 games on 51 catches with Kenny Pickett. I think he can do the same thing with Bryce Young and get over 1,000 as long as he plays enough games here. Chris Olave, higher than 5.5 touchdowns. And this is juiced actually to 1.05 your money on Underdog. 5 touchdowns last year. It was his first year, Derek Carr. He gets a play caller upgrade this season. They still didn't add anybody to take away targets. I love Chris Olave to get over the 5 touchdown mark this year. And last but not least, Rachaad White, higher than 350 receiving yards. He had 549 last season. And while we all have questions about his running efficiency, I have no questions about what he is as a receiver. And that role could be regressed, and he still should get over 350 receiving yards on Underdog. So we like those bets for Underdog this year. Make sure you check us out on your favorite podcast app. We're available to you everywhere you listen to podcasts on Apple, Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. Make sure you give a download to the show and follow us on YouTube at FF Advice Network. We'll be back next week with the AFC West. Stay tuned to our social medias at DanMater FF, at OP Domination FF to find out exactly when that's going to be. Plan is for Wednesday, but you never know. Depending on the guests we get, it could be rescheduled. So make sure you tune in for that. But AFC West, NFC West, it's all we got left for the team profile series, guys. And then we're getting into the nitty gritty because it's almost August time. Super Bowl division. That's right. We'll see you guys soon. Hey there, I'm proud to say that Underdog Fantasy is the newest sponsor of our show, and it's my favorite place to play fantasy games. No waivers, no trades, no lineup settings, just best ball for season-long drafters all year long. And you gotta check out Pick'em. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players. You can choose whether they go higher or lower on those stats, and if you can pick 5 in a row, you can win 20 20 times your money. Sound like fun? Well, guess what? You could sign up with promo code FFAdvice today to claim your special pick, plus a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. I cannot wait to see your entries